Good morning. Welcome back to MIT Sloan, and thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Audie Hittle, and I'm with the class of MOTs of class of 1991 and the Sloan Fellows Management of Technology Alumni Weekend Committee, and we want to welcome you back for this great event. Before we get kicked off here, we've got some administrative remarks, a few brief comments. First, I was asked to make you aware that space is available in several workshops this afternoon during the flex time between 2:30 and 5. And if you'd like more information, you can get that downstairs at the registration center. Secondly, this session is being recorded and is going to be shared on the school's website during the course of the entire summer. I'm sure it'll be archived after that as well, but it will be available for you to see or for you to reference for others. And finally, for purposes of these recordings, it's important that if you do have a question during the Q&A session, that you cite your name, your program, your course year, and please, for the benefit of others, do use the microphone so that they can hear your question and make sure that it's understood before the answers are given. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce Carrie Hunter, a Sloan Fellow, class of '84, as she presents the topic of high impact, high performance, engaging with sustainability innovation projects at MIT. Carrie is also known as CJ, is an entrepreneur, consultant, and pioneer in the field of sustainability. She's a seasoned executive with over 30 years of experience in business and nonprofit management and consulting. She's highly skilled in motivating diverse stakeholders to participate in processes that lead to sustainable solutions. CJ was on the first board for the National Capital Region chapter of the U.S. Green Building Council. She also founded and has chaired the Sustainable Washington Alliance and has chaired numerous green building and sustainability conferences. Carrie's company is called Leading Sustainability. Please join me in welcoming Carrie Hunter.
Audie, thank you very much, and welcome everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know there were probably lots of other temptations, like maybe staying in bed, but thank you. We've got a really exciting workshop this morning, and I'm just thrilled to be able to do this with Jason J. And to create this opportunity for the first of what we hope is an ongoing series of conversations and perhaps a new construct that will help bring alumni together with student-led projects. I had the opportunity to work on the Sloan Convocation 3 years ago, the theme for which was sustainability, the next business frontier, I think it was. And at that time, I really wanted to identify student-led projects on campus to showcase them to alumni and help start that dialogue then. And with the opportunity on the committee that helped shape this event this weekend, I was able to propose this workshop and got in touch with John Sturman, who put me in touch with Jason, who's been an absolute delight to work with. We were able to find 12 dynamic student-led projects. And believe you me, this is just a sampling of the many projects going on campus. And I want alumni to know how much is going on campus, and also to identify ways in which we might be able to help these student-led projects take their next steps, solve problems. And since we have Sloan alumni as well as MIT alumni worldwide, I think this is a conversation that could be very rich, both for the alumni and the students as we go forward. Jason, when he was a PhD candidate here for in the Sloan School, became one of the founders and leaders of many of the sustainability initiatives that now exist on campus. He is also a lecturer in the SLab and is, I think, managing SLab now. And just about anything that has a sustainability attached to it in Sloan, Jason is in some way or another involved as a founder, as a coach, and is just been, again, a delight to work with. So I'm going to let Jason introduce the ecosystem of sustainability innovation at MIT, and again, this opportunity to bring alumni into this ecosystem for what we hope will be a very constructive dialogue today and going forward.
Thank you, Carrie. I've got a mic. Thanks. Yeah, you can just set it here. Good morning, everybody. great to have you all here. 10 years ago, I was a young traveler in northern India, in the mountains, in the foothills of the Himalayas. And I was hiking through the forest, and I came across a clearing where I ran across a dried riverbed filled with trash. Some of it on fire, some of it being eaten by cows. And not too far away, in the cities, I had seen families picking through trash, looking for something to use, to sell, to eat. And that was the beginning of a journey for me that has brought me here today and that brings us all here to think about sustainability. It was a point at which I started to commit myself to working on this grand challenge of lifting billions out of poverty while honoring the limits and the beauty of the natural world. And we've been hearing a lot about it this weekend here at the Sloan 150, through the event that Rick and John did yesterday, through the event that Peter did yesterday with Unilever and Oxfam. And it's been so exciting to see things really blossom here. After that experience, I started doing a lot of reading. I came across the work of John Sterman and Peter Senge and others from MIT Sloan that were really inspiring to me. And I started working as a consultant, working on organizational learning and leadership development, and became passionate about helping organizations realize their potential, realize their deeper purpose, and find their contribution to solving these tough world challenges. I came to Sloan in 2005 as a doctoral student to continue that path. And as my friend Chris Kempes is fond of saying, we get to MIT and we expect jetpacks and nanobots everywhere. And we come and we find the buildings and the campus and the infrastructure that we have. Now this building here, E62, is a phenomenal accomplishment. But as many of you know, the rest of campus still has a long way to go in terms of working on energy efficiency, in terms of trying to tackle a $1 billion backlog of deferred maintenance. And I said, you know what, let's get students involved in this. Let's get students animated, let's get them politically motivated, let's lobby the administration and get them to take these problems seriously and make our campus sustainable. And what I quickly learned is that that's not what MIT is about. MIT is not about political lobbying. It's not about blaming someone else for the problems or holding someone else accountable. It's about rolling up our sleeves and getting stuff done. What the students wanted to do was to make a difference in the ways that they could with the skills that they were building here at MIT. So we created something called the MIT Generator, which got students involved in hands-on projects to work on campus sustainability. And we saw amazing things come out of it. Interactive web maps of campus energy use. Digital cameras pointed at buildings and noticing which lights were left on at night and emailing the occupants to remind them to turn their lights off. Thermoelectric devices being tested on the heat stacks from the cogeneration plan, and a whole host of other different innovations that came out of student involvement, oftentimes supported by faculty engagement with action learning courses of various kinds around the institute. And I came to understand what MIT is. MIT is an ecosystem of innovation. It's a place, again, where people roll up their sleeves and get stuff done and invent our way to solving these great challenges that we face. So here at Sloan, I started getting engaged in building out the program here with Peter Senge and Wanda Orlikowski. I helped create the SLab course, Leading Sustainable Systems, which gets students involved in hands-on projects with partner companies on the organizational and leadership challenges of solving sustainability challenges. And I increasingly started to get involved in the SLab program and the other things going on around sustainability. So when I was finishing my PhD last year, John Sterman and Rick Locke invited me to be the director of the Sustainability Initiative. And I jumped at the chance, because we have such an incredible opportunity here to address what we think of as the fundamental alignment between healthy organizations, healthy environments, healthy societies, and an economy that meets human needs. This is how we think about sustainability. And the Sustainability Initiative here, which some of you may have gotten to hear about, is really thriving and blossoming around the school. We've had speaker series events that bring people from around MIT. We have the building here, E62, which represents a really tangible commitment to sustainability. We have all these action learning courses, which are getting students engaged in projects around the world. And we've even launched a sustainability certificate program where students can really develop their expertise and commitment in tackling these challenges in their careers. And we've seen an incredible expansion of student interest. So we started the sustainability certificate program last year. We had 2 students graduate with it. This year, 17. Next year, based on surveys, I'm projecting between 30 and 40. We've had standing room only in the speaker series events. We've doubled the size of SLab from last year to this year with 15 projects. The SLab course continues to thrive. We've had student-organized study tours working on water and renewable energy and education, the big challenges around the world. And it's just been absolutely exciting to see. And again, we have to keep innovating. We have to keep pushing the envelope. So for me, what that means is thinking about this broader ecosystem of innovation. The action learning courses that we have here at MIT Sloan fit into this bigger picture that I discovered as a student working on the MIT generator, which was DLab and the Ideas Global Challenge, various student organizations working on electric vehicles and the solar decathlon, Clean Energy Prize, 100K. The 100K competition was just completed. Sanergy won it, which was a sustainable development project working on water systems in the developing world. And practica of various kinds all throughout the institute. These are all part of this ecosystem of innovation, and that's part of what we're trying to bring here into the room. Because what's possible here is for this ecosystem to know no boundaries of student, alumni, faculty, and our partners in industry. What's possible here is for us to take these student projects and carry them a step forward and carry them out into the world and really have MIT realize its potential as the hub for all this kind of work to really galvanize and build on all this energy. So what we're going to do, the way we're going to organize this morning and give you a chance to do this, is each of the people here represents the leader of an initiative that we think just gives a little bit of a slice, a little bit of a window into what happens around MIT, around this kind of innovation. Each of them is going to have 1 minute to give a quick pitch and describe what they've been up to, describe where the project stands, and describe what they hope to get out of engagement with all of you. And then we're going to give everyone a chance to stand up. As I said, you're not committed to the table you're sitting at. Go move, vote with your feet. Go sit at a project that interests you, where you want to focus, where you think you might be able to help move the project forward. And we'll give more details about how that process is going to work. I'm going to wear 2 hats. I'm going to jump into the line here because I'm going to pitch something of my own, thinking about the future of this initiative and a sustainability center here. But I think what's much more exciting is all of this incredible engagement that students have had with communities and organizations around the world. So without further ado, I want to move right into that, right into the student pitches. Starting with Annika Scientific.
The microphone?
Sorry, microphone. Sorry. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Annika Ramanujam. I'm a first-year MBA student at Sloan, and I'm from India. We worked during the spring. A group of 4 of us spent our spring break in a small city in India called Vadodara, working with Annika Scientific. The company uses biomass, all forms of agricultural waste, and renewable materials to produce electricity by gasification technology. The technology is carbon neutral, so the waste produced is charcoal, which can be used as a fuel source. It's been hugely successful in the developing world, especially in South Asia. The company is looking to expand into international markets, Africa and Latin America. Their challenge was how to identify opportunities where they can use their technology and meet the energy demand, both for rural electrification and for sustainable renewable energy generation. So what we did was we identified a set of criteria that would help us assess where there is a demand for electricity and biomass. That was primarily in Africa and Latin America. We looked at infrastructure availability to transport this biomass from areas where there is agricultural produce to where there is a need, and we looked at how much supply there is. We finally looked at how much government support is available and what kind of regulatory environment prevails in that country, because that tends to be fundamental to development of a renewable energy source. We came up with a group of countries where there is a demand for renewable electricity and there is regulatory favor, but there's also another group of countries where there's neither regulation nor too much of financial support, but there is a huge demand for rural electrification. What we're looking to do now through the sustainability project is to look for partners in these countries so that Annika Scientific can go on to establish business relations and meet the demand. So if you have an interest in this field, we're on table number 1, and we look forward to your contribution.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Natalia, and it's a great pleasure to be here and see so many of you here. Are there any avid fishermen or fisherwomen in the room? Okay, anybody who has been to Maine? Great. Anybody who has taken the red line? Ever? Great. So then you all know the word alewife. And Alewife is what the project that I worked on is about. So we partnered with Environmental Defense Fund, a big nonprofit, and the project is about potential restoration of alewife population in the river of St. Croix. That's the river in the far northeast Maine on the border with Canada. And the reason why this project, I think, is high performance and high impact is that there are three main aspects of sustainability to it. So clearly, alewives are part of environment, and when you take fish species out of a river, then you clearly break into the environment, and like many things go wrong because of that. On the other side, clearly, as you know, Maine doesn't have a lot of population, so during our project we were amazed to learn how many actually people are involved in the areas that are touched by alewives. And last but not least, of course, we're talking about the economic issues, and the purpose of our project is to get some economic values of the drivers that are associated with alewives. So here are some things that we have looked into, and we have figured out that the total value of these economic drivers is quite large, and it's probably can be potentially equal to the size of the tourism industry in the Washington County. So I would like to pick your brain on how we can develop these and how we can work on implementation of economic savings for the state of Maine. If you're interested in that, please come to the table too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Angela Hojnacki, and I'm an undergraduate studying mechanical engineering and urban studies and planning. Last year I became involved with the Green Grease Project, which is an initiative to convert diesel engines to run on waste vegetable oil in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Last August we traveled to a waste picker cooperative called Kruma, where the members, or catadores, collect garbage, recyclables, and waste vegetable oil throughout the city. The goal is to promote the use of waste vegetable oil as a fuel, particularly through a simple oil conversion. This summer, next week, we're traveling back to install a filtration system, which is an important aspect of the conversion. The goal is to create a low-cost and easy-to-use filtration system so that the oil is filtered and you have no problems when you're running the engine. This is just one step in the final goal of our project, which is to form a team of trained waste pickers and disseminate the project out to 5 to 10 other cities outside of Sao Paulo. And eventually we'd like to help them start a business to convert third-party vehicles for extra income. We'll be at table 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Connie Lou. I'm an undergraduate in environmental engineering. My teammate Koyin is at table 4 in the corner. The challenge that we're working with is that organic waste is not collected in a lot of urban slums, and this results in a major public health hazard because it just accumulates in neighborhoods. And this is because there's not really an economically viable way to manage organic waste in urban slums. And this is what Grub Cycle aims to deliver. As you see in our next slide, we've been working on designing a system that allows every 1 kilogram of organic waste to be converted into about 29 cents worth of animal feed. And we're working with the existing collection and sorting system in Kibera, and selling our systems to local entrepreneurs who can use them to farm grubs from the organic waste and then process it into animal feed. So again, we're at table 4.
Great. Thank you.
Good morning, thank you. I'm Steve Wessels. I took GLab over this past fall and spring, and I helped Camworks attack the roughly 80% of the Cambodian population that is off the grid and uses non-sustainable products like kerosene and farm wood for lighting and nighttime activities. So what we helped them do, their mission was to provide solar products, both in professional and consumer market, and to, while providing those to the rural villagers at a reasonable rate, while also providing local employment, sales, and education opportunities and educating rural Cambodia and the use of solar and other sustainable technologies. My team combated or helped them assist through this problem with working on their local market as well as their export market and their local operations in the production of their items. So the challenges we face and we would like to work on at Table 5 with you are on my next slide. That work on affordability, distribution, as well as the ability to keep production local in Cambodia. Thank you.
Great. It's a little dark, but
it's a little dark. All right. Hello, my name is Rina Chima. I'm the president and founder of Mabara, and I'm here today to share with you an innovative way of growing fish and vegetables regardless of water and soil conditions. Our device is Our device is a low-tech, low-cost, scalable aquaponics system that converts waste in terms of kitchen scraps into food, which would be tilapia as well as vegetables. This technology is particularly applicable in the Niger Delta of Nigeria, where I'm from. Their oil activity and oil extraction activity has made fishing and farming virtually impossible. So other applications for this technology would be in regions where you have for another location for this technology would be places where you have high population and low arable land, like in New York, so on the rooftops in New York. These are actually sort of green gardens that you can't really see too clearly, but on the rooftops in New York, particularly in China, where you have poor soil quality because of continuous overcropping, this would also be applicable there. Right now, my team and I plan to, our goal is to build working prototypes over the summer. We have a budget of 50,000, and we recently won 10,000 in the Ideas competition under the Sustainable Agricultural category, and we hope to fundraise the rest. If you're interested in any way in tilapia, does anyone like tilapia in this room? All right, if you like tilapia, if you think this image is cool, you can't really see it, but I believe it's over there. There's a little more of the image over there. If you're interested, please come over and let's revolutionize agriculture together. Thank you.
great, thank you. So this is, I'm going to jump in here, sorry. So this is, as I said earlier, this is the kind of the state of the sustainability initiative here at Sloan. The next step for us is to start thinking about building out towards something more like a sustainability center here at MIT. This is a sort of a seed of a vision, seed of an idea that I really hope that we can get some input on. The idea is that basically there's 4 elements. One is this innovation ecology of getting students and alumni working on action projects around the world. One is engaging faculty and researchers around the Institute in research on sustainable societies. One is becoming a learning hub for companies and organizations who are working on sustainability through action learning projects and executive education and collaborative research and recruiting. And then this idea of the campus as a living laboratory, really making E62 the starting point for revolutionizing the MIT campus and having it become a beacon for what we want to see out in the world. So I'm going to take a table to talk about the development of a sustainability center here and get input on that as a project.
Once there was a young man in Malawi named William Kamkwamba who built himself a windmill in the middle of the desert out of PVC pipes and some other scrap materials and a bicycle dynamo. And so I'm here with Fariha over there and the Practical Energy Network, and our goal is to enable students all over the world to build their own innovative energy technologies. So we're starting an international network of extracurricular high school clubs to do practical, hands-on science and engineering with a focus on energy, stuff like bicycle-powered cell phone chargers or solar panels using off-specification solar cells. And we're starting up in Tanzania this August and then moving to India and Ghana probably next year. So there are 3 components. We're hoping to connect the development engineers with the students who could actually be building and benefiting from these technologies. We've got teachers' workshops that we're hoping to start, and we'll have a website where students and engineers all over the world can share what technologies they're working on and what questions they have about various innovations and such. And we'll have an energy cookbook, sort of primer or curriculum guide, where teachers can use this book to teach students how to build things that'll be very picture-oriented so it can be easily translatable. We have a slight problem in that our group is entirely made up of engineers, which is awesome, but we also want to build a sustainable business venture. So if you're interested in joining us, we will be over there where the little dynamo is in the box. Thank you.
Great, thank
Hello, my name is Ajamu Kitwana. I'm an MBA, and my MBA team was part of the SLab class. We worked with Suptico, a business school in Senegal, to address two key challenges in Senegal. One, deforestation. Senegal is in the Sahel region in West Africa, between the Sahara Desert to the north, tropical south. Desertification is resulting from over-deforestation. Second, an invasive plant called Tifa australis on the Senegal River, which causes stagnant water, waterborne diseases, and challenges to agriculture and fish industries. The solution proposed by Suptico that we help them to address is biomass charcoal business. So we, and particularly using Tifa australis as the input. Some of the potential impacts of this business that we found and that Suptico hopes to make economically, helping to provide lower cost home fuel. Again, and fuel is largely for cooking. In Senegal, lots of families use charcoal and gas for cooking. So low cost cooking fuel, as well as jobs for rural women primarily, but families in rural areas in Senegal. Social benefits, in addition to jobs in rural areas, greener jobs. So sustainability is a big challenge. And finally, by getting 10% market share, they could save about 300,000 trees with respect to deforestation, as well as help on the Tifa side. Challenges: financing, so international development financing for startups, and particularly a company with expertise in biomass transformation that can diplomatically work with Senegal in a way that they feel is not an imperialistic force, but a partnership force to help them initiate this business.
Great. Thank you.
I'm going to throw out a bunch of statistics and see how many people have heard this. How many of you know that global food prices have been rising? Raise your hand. So it's been in the news. They've been doubling over the past year. 3/4 of the world's poor live in rural areas. How many of you have heard of that? And we waste a whopping 1,600 calories per person per day in food waste. It's a lesser known statistic. So my name is Shayna. My colleague Barbara is at table 10. A bunch of MBA students and engineers got together over the past year and a half to think about these issues. We traveled to Paraguay and met Laureano, who's a fruit farmer. He's experienced in waste in his supply chain, but not just waste in terms of fruit rot because he can't get it to market, also wasted capacity on his land. He's only harvesting on half of his land because he doesn't know what the market demands. And so what we've actually done as a team is we've taken a systems approach to the fruit system and said, where can we provide some useful technologies to intervene and contribute to these challenges? So one of the things we've done is we've created an SMS tool with cell phones that's going to be launched in June in Paraguay to help cooperatives become better business agents. So we're working with 2 fruit co-ops. They're going to be able to aggregate information on what fruits are being grown at what places, at what times, so that they can better get fruit to market. And the other piece of this system is looking at processing. How can we process fruits closer to origin in local centers so that we can cut out fruit rot? And we have a team of engineers that are really just starting to crack this nut. And we're really looking for people to help us think about this is a business model. You know, how do we actually do the supply aggregation? How can we do the processing in an affordable way and then link into international markets? So if you're interested in any of those issues, please join us at table 10 in the back corner. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Miho Kitagawa. I'm a mechanical engineering student in undergraduate. So our project is to revive disappearing rural villages in Japan by bringing locally appropriate people and businesses. And we started our project in a village called Tane in Shiga Prefecture, but our project will be also applicable to the other villages in Japan and also around the world. So our approach is to entice businesses to move to one of many abandoned houses in the area. And those businesses could benefit from low cost of living in the area, but they need to be able to operate outside of the urban area. So examples of businesses would be information technology business, agriculture business, or art business. And we are now looking for those businesses and planning the best way to entice those businesses to move to the villages like Tane. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Last but not least, my name is Michael Perrin, here to talk about the U.S. Navy. I'm an MBA student here. I want to talk about the project that we worked on. what we know today is that in our country, the U.S. government is the largest consumer of petroleum. 50% of that oil is imported, and there are elements within the government that are looking to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. One of the projects that I worked on with my team, with the Navy, was looking at alternative jet fuels in terms of its carbon footprint, what we could do to, what that impact was. One of the main emphasis that we learned from the project, however, was that there is no silver bullet in terms of alternative fuels. Even though they do hold promise, the important thing is that you have to focus on efficiency and conservation first. So what that presents is that the Navy can no longer do business as usual. What that means is that if they actually do come up with alternative fuels that work, they can't keep marching down the same path they've been going on, because what will happen is as they will continue to consume more oil or more fuel, and so they need to change their paradigm from that perspective. The other part is we want to also think about what the Navy needs to be thinking about in terms of strategically and tactically in terms of sustainability. So at table 12, we'll be talking about how we can help the Navy in terms of what they can be thinking about from a sustainable practice in terms of not just jet fuels, but efficiencies as well. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So I thank you so much, all the student teams, for very efficient and compelling presentations. What we're going to do now, as I said, is fan out and start working on some of these projects. So I would like everybody to actually stand up to overcome some of this inertia and move to the table that interests you. So the table numbers are written on the board. They're up here on the projector as well. So please move to the table that interests you. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep. Oh, yeah. John, can you turn on the, can you turn on the other, can you turn on the central mic? No, you're not. What do you want to say?
For the tables that have facilitators that we've already assigned, would you kindly identify yourselves at the tables? And for the tables that do not have facilitators, if somebody would kindly volunteer to be a facilitator to make sure that we achieve our walkaway objectives. We have about 30 or 40 minutes to have this discussion. Also, at each table, we'd like to ask the student teams to ask a table member to be a scribe.
All right.
So we have...
Yeah, so we have actually 35 minutes. We have 35 minutes to work together at these tables. What I'd like each table to do is designate a couple of roles. Okay? So I'd like each table to designate someone who's a scribe and someone who's a facilitator. At some of the tables, we actually have a facilitator at your table, and they'll identify themselves. Otherwise, we'll ask each team to pick one person to be the facilitator of the conversation. The job of the scribe, you have two jobs. One is to collect everyone's name and email address on the notebook paper that's here at your table so that we can actually get back in touch with folks. Actually, ideally, since this is alumni, if you also capture their year-end program, that would just help us identify people. So names and emails and programs on the sign-in sheets. And then use the flip chart paper that you have to capture some of the ideas that are coming out of the conversation so that we can take pictures of those, get them circulated out to people, and have it be a useful input into further conversation. So those are the two roles, scribe and facilitator. We're going to give you 35 minutes. So at 10:15, we're going to bring the conversation back together and just ask you to share a little bit about any interesting insights or surprises that came out of your conversations, and a little bit about how to move forward with this kind of student-alumni engagement. Any questions before we get going? All right, let's go. Oh, sorry. OK, so what I'd like to do in these last 15 minutes is We're not going to have time, unfortunately, to get every team sharing everything that you talked about, and I hope that these were really vibrant conversations about the projects. What I first want to do is just give any of you a chance to just reflect on what was the most exciting or surprising or interesting about the conversation that you had. What struck you about this landscape of innovation around sustainability here at MIT? And if you just raise your hand, we have a volunteer who will bring you the microphone so we can capture it. So the question is, I just want to hear your personal reflections on what was most exciting, what was most surprising, what was most interesting about the conversation that you had at the tables. So we've got someone back there.
I think what was most interesting for me is the driver behind this company is to help the little farmer and try to allow them to make more money so that they can live better lives. That's really the whole point of their business.
So a real commitment to the human dimension of all of this. Yep. Others? Right over here. Yeah.
I was really impressed by the enthusiasm and the dynamism that came out of this group. I mean, for facilitating, it was spectacular because I didn't need to know anything. No one ever stopped talking, throwing out ideas for the entire period. It was terrific.
Other thoughts, reflections, reactions to this? Right here.
I work in development, and I've been a little isolated where I've been, and I think this solves something. It's great.
Excellent. And the other thing I want to do is to start to get some input from you guys on, how could we carry this conversation further? Should we be doing more events like this? Should we do them regionally? Should we do them here at MIT? Should we have, we have, for the sustainability initiative, we have a Facebook group, and we're building a LinkedIn group, and there's other mechanisms like that to get in touch to think about this initiative here at Sloan and the Development and Sustainability Center. But to be in touch with these projects, to be connected, what are some mechanisms? Should we do this again? I want to get that kind of input from you guys. We're back here, we've got a couple. Go ahead.
I'm the president of the alumni club, MIT Sloan Alumni Club in Brazil, and 2 years ago we had an event on sustainability with the presence of Professor Rick Locke. It was excellent, and I would like to have more events organized in Brazil around this theme. So you can count on our support. We are extremely interested in sustainability issues there in Brazil, okay?
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, Brazil is actually a real hotspot for projects, for companies, for engagement, partly because of Rick Locke and John Sturman's ties there. Other ideas? Other thoughts? Oh, right here, sorry.
So we had really good, out-of-the-box kind of thought processes in terms of what we could have done differently or potentially look into more information. If we had this conversation before we went to India for our project, I think it would have been phenomenal help. Absolutely there are stuff that we can still do, but it's end of the semester, so we don't have any actual responsibility to deliver anything more than out of the scope that we already delivered. Yes. But if we had this conversation up front, I think it would have been really helpful.
Are there any teams where you guys feel like, as alumni, you have something concrete to do to carry this forward, to engage with the communities involved, to engage with the companies involved, to do something similar in the organizations or contexts that you're involved in? That was one of the things that we were hoping that might come out of these conversations. Or was this primarily good at sort of providing input to the students in their work? What are some? Yeah, just pipe up. I think the microphone thing is slowing us down a little bit.
Yes. Would you like to say something about your presentation? Going forward.
She was my boss in MIT long time ago. Well, we have discussed about the TANE initiative that is very much isolated community in Japan, in some Shiga prefecture, that is a certain local government. And I just talked with two people, of course in Japanese, and I emphasize select the many objectives before starting to deepen the subject. And then also the point was to find out young people's interest first, not for senior people. So they can select any infrastructure they want. And in Japan, I just told her that my friend, he is now a graduate professor in Waseda University. That's a very famous Japanese private school. And he is involved in urban city design. And so when she came to Japan, I just introduced him to he introduced Mr. Asano to Miho, and to further develop this project in Japan.
Great.
Excellent.
Yeah, networking
Yeah.
is expanding.
Are there other networking opportunities that alumni have identified for their projects that they've been involved with? Anybody else who can help network the projects around Sao Paulo? Any help there for that one?
Maybe the Juno Enterprise.
Microphone.
Hold on.
I don't speak English very well, sorry. The junior enterprises in the most universities in Brazil, they are young leaders and they have all over Brazil, and they are very motivated and willing to help. And did you try the TED Talks?
Tech Talk?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, TED Talk, yes,
yes.
yes, yes, yes.
I
yes.
think it would be a good way to disseminate the idea.
Yeah.
As well as Endeavor. Endeavor in Brazil is very active. They foster entrepreneurship. They have many sustainability-oriented projects, and we have contact with them. And she is the mentor of these junior enterprises all over Brazil. We have straight contact with them, and we could extend that to your projects, okay?
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. There's other ideas right over here.
Your question got me thinking a little bit. There is a network of Jesuit business schools called the International Association of Jesuit Business Schools. 2 years ago in Jamshedpur, India, they made a commitment that for 10 years, their annual world conference, which is Jesuit business school, like 176 or something around the world, would be committed to leadership for global sustainability. Some of those schools don't have engineering schools. Some of them are very good schools, some are not such good schools. I think that network would be thrilled to death to have a connection where they could learn and be involved, and their students, etc., to what's happening at MIT.
Yes.
So I think MIT could take it up still another level. Because as much as this is good for our competitive advantage at MIT and MIT grad, this is a bigger issue than competitive advantage.
Yes.
This is an issue where you want to give away your technology as rapidly as you can, because we're really about something much more than MIT even here.
Yes.
So I think if you're interested in going that route, I could probably help you on that.
Okay.
That was the next question.
And I just want to share a couple of ways that any of you can be engaged with what's happening here at MIT that exists already, which you may or may not be aware of. So one of them is that all of these action learning courses that we've been talking about. So SLab, which is focused on global entrepreneurship in the developing world particularly, but entrepreneurship around the world. SLab, which is leading sustainable systems with Peter Senge, that's working on organizational change and change in supply chains for sustainability. The SLab course, which I teach, which is focused on strategy development for sustainability in companies around the world. All of these source projects from this broader MIT ecology. So if your organization wants to work with a student team and have them come work with you as an organization, you can reach out to us. The way that works is that each course has a cycle of application for student project teams. And if you want to get involved, you should come see me or drop me an email. My email address is jjay@mit.edu. I manage the process for SLab, I can connect you to the people who manage the process for GLab and LLab and the other courses. So that's one thing. The second thing is that for this year, we, exactly to your point, Adam, about getting the students engaged with alumni earlier in the process, we actually have created an alumni expertise bank for these sustainability projects. So if that's something that you would like to join, then you should also drop me an email. Kara Penn, who's a MBA grad from a few years ago, she's the one who put together the Energy, Environment, and Sustainability Network within the Alumni Association. So this is another opportunity. Through the Infinite Connection, you can actually identify yourself as someone who's interested in energy, environment, and sustainability, and that will get you hearing about all these kinds of opportunities. Kara helped put together this alumni expertise bank for the SLab course so that as teams were developing their projects, they could reach out to alumni and get help from them. So if you want to be part of that, I can connect you with that opportunity as well. And I'll be sending around these opportunities to folks to your emails since if you've signed up on the sign-up sheets here. So host an action learning project, be an alumni mentor for a project. Be in touch with us about hosting events like this in your areas, whether it's in Brazil or other places. And I want to and help us keep this whole process going, because getting this kind of, I know that here at my table, it was phenomenal to get this input. There was a really important insight, which is that we can develop if we can identify where the opportunities for investment are in programs for sustainability, where there's a real return on investment, through our research, that is a really high leverage thing that MIT Sloan can do to energize sustainability projects around the world, whether it's on energy conservation or agricultural supply chain development or whatever else. So there's some basic ideas that I got out of this conversation and connections which are going to carry forward, which I found incredibly valuable. And I hope all of you at the other tables who are running projects found it similarly so. We've reached the end of our time, so I'm going to let you guys all go and head off to the next exciting event. But I just want to say a big, big word of thanks to our student teams for presenting and being part of this. To Carrie Hunter for organizing this event. To our helpful facilitators throughout the morning. And to all of you for being here as part of this process. This was really, really an excellent starting point.
Thank you very much, everybody. Truly.